Hi, I'm Debbie with Book and Bujo. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've been here before. I'm trying to vlog throughout September since I have so many readathons and so many books. It'll be a lot easier to keep track of them if I'm doing a vlog. So welcome to week 1 of September's vlogs. So September 1st was kind of a busy day. So we were on the worship team at church in the morning. We have 2 services, so we're there for rehearsal, then the 2 services, and then we typically go out to brunch because we're tired and don't want to have to make something at home when we get done. But this time we went out to eat with my family because it was my cousin's birthday, which is actually today, but we celebrated it yesterday since that was Sunday. And so it was great. Got to see my cousin, one of her daughters, her fiance, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, and a couple of other young cousins. So that was a lot of fun. And then we came home and went on a fun trip out to the library to pick up my big stack of books. We'll see if I can hold them up. I'll show them to you in a minute. And then also return Knife of Dreams because I did finish that one. So I am happy to say I miraculously somehow finished my TBR for August, except for one book, which is Raising Steam, and I didn't finish it because I moved it to September. I wouldn't have finished it anyway. I didn't have that much time. So it was kind of down to the wire, but I did get everything finished. So yay, very excited for that. After the library, we did take our dog for a little walk downtown somewhat. He's still a little rambunctious around a lot of distractions. So we try and kind of keep him in a quieter area, but still in the downtown area so he can get used to the noise and the traffic and all the people and everybody walking by. We had a lot of fun with Walter, and then we came home and we watched a movie, the Total Recall, the remake of it with, I think it was Colin Farrell? Not Colin Firth, Colin Farrell? One of the Collins, and it was going away on Netflix, so we did rewatch that one. That was a lot of fun. But yesterday I did start a couple of books as well. So I started Shadow of the Batgirl, and I'm reading this for the Magical Readathon with a book with bats on the cover. And this one is a graphic novel, and it is so far very interesting. I'm liking it. I'm about halfway through. I've got 2 chapters left, and I am definitely enjoying it. So this young lady here was trained from a young age to not be a good person, pretty much, and she doesn't know how to read or write. She was never really taught how to speak, was basically you need to be quiet and just do your job kind of thing. But she's in a library and she hears the story of Batgirl and she just thinks it's amazing and she wants to become the hero and not the villain, and so far I am thoroughly enjoying it. I also started Hex Life, which is by a variety of authors. I am about 25% of the way through, and I've just been going one short story at a time, kind of read a short story, then go and do something else, and then read another one, go and do something else. And so far it's interesting. There's a couple of the short stories that are really good. There's a couple that are good, but not amazing. There's a couple I wish were longer because I want to know more, which is why I don't like short stories, but I guess there's never enough for me. I like big, long, epic fantasies. I am enjoying it so far. And then I also decided to start reading my most anticipated book of the month. I'm not quite sure why I decided to read it first, but I needed a break from high epic fantasy because I kind of ended last month with Nightfall and Knife of Dreams and all these really 800-page high epic fantasies that took a lot of brain power, and just there's a lot going on in those. So I needed a little bit of a breather. So that's why I thought the short stories would be a good idea, as well as the graphic novel. But the other one, let me get to the cover. The other one I'm reading is a sci-fi, and it is Of Claws and Inferno by Kyoko M, and I love this series so much, and there's enough humor and sarcasm and pop culture references to keep it light and kind of fun, even though there's, fighting of dragons and evil people and things like that. But we follow our three main characters, Faye and Jack and Kamala. So Jack and Kamala are the ones who came up with the way to clone dragons, and their idea was to clone one dragon at a time, one breed of dragon at a time, and study it in the wild in its natural habitat and that type of thing. But of course their research was stolen, and random dragons started popping up all over, dragon fighting rings. We have the Asian mafia in there, and you have private companies in there trying to make money off of dragon fighting rings and selling dragons as exotic pets and things like that. And so Jack and Kamala are helping to fight that and bring to justice the people who are doing wrong. Faye is Kamala's roommate, but she also is super smart, basically I think she was going to MIT and getting her degree in like engineering, and she came up with like a dragon tracker device to help aid them in their mission. And so the three of them kind of work together, and I just love how this story has unfolded. This is the fifth and final main book in the series. There is one novella left, and I do own that one, and I can't wait to get to that one too. But I am thoroughly loving this book so far, and I am on chapter 8, I believe. It's chapter 8? Let me see. Chapter 8, which is about 21% of the way through, and yes, still loving it. Still loving it. There's some great side characters, and in like our world now, if dragons had been around just like dinosaurs were. So you have the dinosaurs and dragons in this world, and otherwise things are exactly the same. You have the same technology, same type of people, same countries, names, all of that kind of stuff is the same, just with dragons in it. The characters are all really interesting. I love the diversity of all of the characters, and just the interactions and the sarcasm and banter back and forth between everybody. And yeah, one of my favorite series. So of Cinder and Bone series by Kyoko M. You gotta check it out. The other thing I want to mention is because I got another Kickstarter email today. So way back when, I think 2019, 2020, 2021, somewhere in that time period, I backed the Fatemarked Kickstarter by David Estes, and this is a 5-book series. It was his first high epic fantasy, and this is one of my all-time favorite series. It's Fatemarked, and Nightfall, which is one of the books I finished reading at the end of August, is the 4th book in the Kingfall Histories series, which is set in, also by David Estes, set in the same world as Fatemarked, just in a different continent and a little bit different time period from that. And I love that series just as much, but this one holds a special place in my heart just because I love all the characters in this series, and it's just so good. But when he had this book come out on Kickstarter, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting that. So I got this one, and then I got a paperback from my mom. So this is the leather-bound edition. It's got all the beautiful, let's hold it up the right way, all the beautiful foiling, and it's signed and numbered, and it's got the bookmark is signed as well. There's an author's note in here, and I will leave the unboxing of this one up in the cards above in case you want to check it out. But there's no end papers, there's no sprayed edges, there's no colorful artwork, and so David Estes was not satisfied with how this book came out, so he was going to do all 5 books. So instead he decided to do a whole new Kickstarter for all 5 books with. So if you remember my unboxing of Dragon Mage and the surprise of the edges that have the hidden artwork on them, well, that is the plan for David Estes' new books, the new set. The maps, colored maps on as the end papers for all 5 of the books. There's going to be hidden edges, sprayed edges on the side, and then there's going to be a plethora of colored artwork throughout the books, which is amazing. And he just sent out an update today that said what the pricing is going to be for the whole 5-book series. But for those of us who backed this campaign, because this one was $65, he is going to give us $70 off the actual price of the new set just to say thank you for purchasing this one, and having to end up getting 2 copies of this same book, even though it's going to be, the aesthetics of it is going to be completely different, but we'll have 2 copies of Fatemarked, which is amazing. I think that is so awesome. So they're kind of giving us an extra $5 off just to say thank you for having backed this one. So I think that is really cool. And so the books themselves, I think he said they're going to be $50 a piece, and there's 5 books. And then since we paid $65 for this one, he gives us the $65 back for that, and then the $5 extra, which is really cool. So yeah, $50 each for all 5 of the books, and you'll get them all at the same time. I don't think it's going to drag out. You order all 5 at once, and then they will send all 5 out. I will leave the link down below in case you want to check out that Kickstarter and support it. It has not started yet, so you can save it and be notified when it does go live. Other exciting news. So today, it feels like somewhat of a wasted day. I woke up late. I was so tired. I basically hit snooze and went back to sleep for another hour, but I definitely needed that. And yeah. And then my husband and I spent the entire day researching cruises, one cruise in particular, because we have some airline credits that we need to use by May, or else we'll lose them. And we want to make sure we use those up before they go away. And we want to do a cruise, and I really want to visit the British Isles and that whole area because I am Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and a plethora of other things in there as well. But those are the main things that are in my heritage, and so I really want to visit all of those areas. My husband's heritage is Bohemian, and well, Bohemia doesn't really exist anymore. It's Czechoslovakia, so we could go there too, but we want to do a cruise and go into the British Isles area first. We'll do that one as a first one. And so we spent all day basically researching these. I found some on Friday, and we kind of looked at it a little bit on Saturday, and then of course Sunday was full of so much other stuff and we were exhausted by the end of the day. So we spent all day today looking at that. We finally did book a cruise, so that was exciting. It'll be for April of next year, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. We get to go, we start out in England, and then we go all the way around Ireland and Scotland, and then back down into England. Now, we don't go to Cork, so we don't go the very southern tip. We go to Dublin, and we also go to Belfast. So that'll be cool. And then we hit 3 different spots in Scotland. So very excited for those. And you'll get to see cruise updates as things happen. So yeah, if you have any tips for cruising, like did you get the travel insurance? Did you upgrade to the premium or the plus or any of those? Do you just go on standard? This is going to be a 10-day cruise, so we'll probably need Wi-Fi for a couple of the days. Do you pre-purchase that? So yeah, if you have any cruise tips, let me know. I have done one other cruise. It was an 8-day cruise that we went to Alaska, and that was a lot of fun, but it was a family reunion cruise, so like there was like 20 of us there. So this time it's just going to be my husband and me, so it'll be a little different but a little interesting, and we're pretty excited. If you could take a cruise anywhere, where would you go? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to find out. All right, it's time for the library haul. Let's see if I can pick them all up. Okay, we already have these 2, and Raising Steam that I already showed you. A River Enchanted, A Closed and Common Orbit, Saga Volume 6. Can't wait to start that one. Very excited. It's a very fun series. I don't know if fun's quite the right word. It's a very interesting series. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, a very large book. Quite heavy too. And then we have The Inheritance Games, The Obsidian Tower, Mrs. Bradshaw's Handbook. Okay, getting close to the chin here. Cinder. Also very excited to read that one. A Study in Scarlet. Oof. What Moves the Dead. One more. And Fahrenheit 451. I'm glad this one's super tiny because it'll fit right under my chin. Okay, and then of course, all of my Kindle and audiobooks that I have. So here we go. Here is the majority of, I gotta back up, majority of my TBR for September. Wish me luck. All right, let's see what tomorrow brings. It's Tuesday. This morning, I remembered that the NetGalley book I decided to read, the deadline is September 8th. So I'm like, well, I need to read that like today. But as I was pulling it up, I remembered that was actually the Q prompt for the Magical Readathon, which means I have to read the O prompt before I can read the Q one. So the O one is The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. So I read that one this afternoon as I was running my errands, and love Edgar Allan Poe. Just he builds so much atmosphere in such short stories. Like, his stories aren't very long. This one was actually a 45-minute audiobook, and there's just so much atmosphere that gets built in there, and so much story and such few pages. It's amazing. Such a talented author. I did finish that one, and so I then started Do Bigger Things, and that is by Dan McClure, and I am enjoying that one so far. I'm about 20% of the way through. Somewhere around there. Don't remember exactly, but yeah, about 20% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of what it sounds like, you know, do bigger things. You want to think outside of the box, get creative with your thinking, and don't get stagnant just in your little bubble. So one of the examples that they gave towards the beginning was like the hotel industry was not prepared for Airbnb to come along. The taxi industry had no idea Uber was about to smack them in the face, right? And also, like, Netflix took Blockbuster by storm. Like, they totally flipped the script and did something completely different. And I think that's really cool. So it's something that you can do on your own, but it's also great to do as a team. Maybe there's two of you that want to get started with something, or are noticing like, I wish this thing was different. You know, you could brainstorm off each other and feed off each other's creative energy and come up with something totally different, and don't be afraid to get out there and do it. Definitely enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what the next few chapters are going to bring. Then over lunch, I did finish Shadow of the Batgirl, and this was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I am looking forward to seeing if there's more in this series, because I mean, the artwork's great, and it was just so much fun. I love the character, and then it also had like a little short story at the end, the Oracle Code, and I'm not sure if this is based off of one of the characters in Shadow of the Batgirl or not. They have the same name, so I'm not sure if they're the same person, like the back history of them, their backstory or not. But this one was really good, and it's by Sarah Kuhn, and the illustration is Nicole Gu, so I would totally check this one out. And then I'm also continuing with The Hex Life, and I am 50% of the way through. I'm halfway through, so these ones are very fun so far, and I'm enjoying it. And then I'm still reading of Closet Inferno. I am also about 25% of the way through the book, and I'm loving it. I'm trying not to read it too fast because I really want to savor it, since this is kind of the last main story. Yes, I'm loving it. And then today, going to the grocery store and running my errands. So my car is in the shop because we live in an area where it's in the city, but it's still kind of rural area within the city. And if you drive through, you'll notice everybody has their hoods up on their car at night because there's mice and rats in the area, and they love to get in there and chew through all the wires in your vehicles. Yeah, it's great. Well, we usually keep the hood up. We have a light on because we have like a little semi-enclosed carport, and that's where I park. Well, we had put the hood down because we were going to move the car out and do some stuff in the carport, And then we ended up getting busy with other things and totally forgot about it. And so the next morning we get up to go to church and go out there. I'm like, oh, the hood was still down. Well, shoot. And then we start up the car and it sounds like a putt-putt car. It's like putt, 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 putt. And we're like, that does not sound right. So we lift up the hood and oh yeah, there's a starting of a rat's nest. They completely chewed through some of the wires and partially chewed through a bunch of others. It was not good. So my car's in the shop. Yeah, getting fixed. So I took my husband's truck to do my grocery shopping. Well, I get done with the grocery store and I get in the truck and I go to go back and the truck's just like it's like, I ain't starting, sorry. So then of course I had a bunch of frozen stuff. It's hot today. It's supposed to be like 90 degrees today. So I call my husband, who of course has no way to come get me because my car's in the shop, so he has no vehicle here. So he calls his dad, who is only about 10 minutes from us, and the grocery store is kind of halfway in between. So that luckily worked out nicely. So he came over, and he actually used to own a 4-wheel drive auto body shop. So he's definitely a good one to call. But he came over and took a quick look, and it didn't look like rats had chewed any wires or anything like that, so that was good. Yay. But he did give me a jump and the truck started, so we did some testing and stuff, so we figured it was the battery needs to be replaced, which yay, I'll take it. That's like super minor compared to what could have been going on with the trucks. I made it home, all the frozen stuff survived, so that was all good as well. So that's been my day so far. Nothing too crazy, but you know, a little bit. I got to sit in the truck with the door open. I got to get a little bit of sun, soak up some vitamin D, and read a few pages in my book while I waited. Well, now I'm going to get back to some reading, and I will catch up with you again later. Hey everyone, it's Thursday, and I did not update you yesterday. Pretty low energy all week, so not much going on. Hopefully I can get out of this weird no energy funk and get busy doing some stuff again. No idea what I was talking about. Just got a delivery at the door and had freezer stuff in there, so I had to stop and put that away. So yeah, no idea what I was talking about when I paused the video. So here we are again. All right, so what have I been reading? How am I doing? So I'm about 43% of the way through of Fury and Inferno, of Closet Inferno. Loving it. It's a very kind of intense scene when I had to stop reading. I'm like, no. So very exciting. Can't wait to continue. I did finish Do Bigger Things, and that was really good. I was kind of telling you a little bit about it earlier in the week, but one of the things I really like about this book is it doesn't just tell you things, and it doesn't just show you things. Like it does show and tell. So it tells you a concept, and then they give you like a real world example that's kind of broken down to tell you how you can implement this concept into your routines, into your life, into your thinking. I definitely recommend it. Again, Do Bigger Things by Dan McClure and Jennifer Wilde. I also finished The Hex Life, and this is Wicked New Tales of Witchery. So there's a bunch of short story, like witchy short stories in here, and some of them are good. I would say like the bottom of the barrel story, for lack of a better term, is probably a 3.5 for me, and that's kind of like the lowest rung of the short stories, all the way up to 4.5. Maybe not a 5-star, just because I don't tend to give too many short stories 5 stars. Even The Fall of the House of Usher got 4.5. It was so close. It was just like a couple points away on Cawpile from getting a 5-star. But if that's not going to get a 5-star, none of these are either. But they are really good, very interesting, and I enjoyed kind of breaking them up over the past few days and just reading a couple at a time, and very entertaining and very creative. And I love the diversity throughout all the different short stories. And then since I finished both of those, so I finished my audiobook. Actually, both of those were audiobooks. And then I finished, Shadow of the Batgirl. That's right, that was the other one I was physically reading. So I picked up Saga, Volume 6, and started that one. And I was reading this while I was eating lunch, and I'm already 75% of the way through. So I will definitely finish this tonight. And I'm really liking this episode. This volume is really good. Highly recommend it. Brian K. Vaughan. If you have not checked out this series, it's sci-fi fantasy series. So good. There's so many books that are still on my TBR, of course, because I have like 30 something, whatever it is. And so many I want to get to because there's so many good ones in there. But I'm trying to start with my O-level classes from Magical Readathon. So if I have to get a Q or a D, I'm trying to bust out those O-level classes so I can get to then those next books and don't accidentally start reading one that I'm supposed to read after I read another one. So I will most likely pick up A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, and this is the second book in the Wayfarers duology. And this one's on audiobook, but I do have it from my library as well. I will start this one next for my audiobook. And then of course I'm still reading Of Claws and Inferno on my Kindle, and then I have Saga to finish. And then for my next physical read, I think this one might actually be a Q, so I need to read another book before this one. Okay, so Obsidian Tower by Melissa Caruso is the group book for the Seasonathon Academy Readathon, and I didn't actually put this one on that TBR because I totally forgot, actually. Totally forgot about when I was making that TBR, but I did get it on my Magical Readathon TBR. So let's see if I can read this one, start this one next, or if I need to read another one first. I think I need to read Awakened Vampire first, which I have on my Kindle, but I also have as an audiobook through my library. So if that's the case, then I will probably start that one next before A Closed and Common Orbit. Let me see, where am I? Where is it? Obsidian Tower. I also need to read, actually, I wonder if that's the one where I need to read Katana of Trust first. And that one I only have on my Kindle. But I want to finish of Claws and Inferno first. Let's see, there's Hex Life. So yeah, here's Hex Life, and this one is for O in Restoration. And that was a night sky on the cover. Yes, I need to read Katana of Trust first before I can read Obsidian Tower. So I may need to put that one off for a little bit. This one I want to get to as soon as possible because it is just a physical read. I don't have an audio option for this one at all. At least with the books on my Kindle, I can listen to them through Alexa and have her read it to me audibly. So I may need to do Katana of Trust as the audiobook through Alexa and wait on A Closed and Common Orbit until I'm done with that one, and then I can start on Obsidian Tower. I think that's the plan. So I'll finish Saga tonight, and then I will keep going on Claws and Inferno. That one will take me a couple more days to read. I mean, I could listen to it through Alexa as well, but I've physically read all of them, so I don't want to start doing the audio now. So I'd rather keep reading that one on my Kindle and then listen to Katana of Trust through Alexa. And then I can start on this one for my physical read. That's the plan. And then when I finish Katana of Trust on audio, then I can pick up A Closed and Common Orbit. That's the plan. I think that's really all the updates I have for you. I created a little travel journal. One of the things my husband and I did, which I think I mentioned over the weekend, was to book a cruise to Ireland. And I made up a little travel journal for planning the trip and when we're at the trip, and I'm actually taking some Irish lessons. I do have to say, it reminds me of when I was taking French, where you have like 10 letters and you only pronounce like 3 of them. And what it sounds like and what the letters used are not always what you think. So it's definitely a more difficult language to learn for me. Plus, I'm used to hearing Spanish all the time and the accent and all of that. And so switching to Irish has definitely been interesting, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm taking the lessons through Duolingo because it's free. And I also found a couple of YouTube channels that have some Irish lessons as well, which is pretty cool. So there are some slight differences in pronunciations and spellings between those two platforms. So it's kind of interesting. So a couple of them, like there's an H added where it's not in the Duolingo. Not sure exactly how that works. And I know if you go to Ireland, everyone basically speaks English, but I still think it's pretty cool if you're going to go visit a country to at least have a couple of phrases under your belt. So I believe it's dietich is hello, and lederhol is please. Thank you. I'm still working on how to say it. It's 4 words. And you pronounce, like the last 2 words kind of get smushed together and you only pronounce half the letters. Goramaga? It's still a work in progress. I'm still working on it, but something like that for thank you. It's been fun. Glenna is a glass, so Glenna Su'ul, a glass of apple juice. But it's pronounced Glenna, but it's like Gloine, which to me would be like glowing. So definitely a learning curve, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. I'm having so much fun learning, and yes, I can't wait. And we also get to go to Scotland, which actually is where I really want to go. Really want to visit Edinburgh and Glasgow, and yeah, super excited about Scotland. We are going on princess cruises, which is if you are around my age, around that decade, or probably older. It was a little bit more my sister and above age, but if you remember the Love Boat, then princess cruises are the Love Boat, and some of them even play the Love Boat horn sound as you are disembarking, which is pretty fun. I'm looking forward to that as well. But again, that's not until like 2025, so I'm getting way ahead of myself, but I am very excited. And we are thinking of doing a couple of excursions. Not sure if we're going to do like specific excursions or if we're just going to go walk around the city. We want to do some kind of like a tour with a tour guide kind of thing where they can walk us around, tell us the history and something interesting about the different areas that we stop in. And of course, we have to do some Guinness tasting and some whiskey because we're going to be in Ireland and Scotland. Very excited. Yes. Okay, enough gushing about Ireland and Scotland. I think that's all I got for you today. There's not much else going on. Yeah. Car worked okay. Air conditioner is working great, so that's nice. We got our car back and the AC is working very well. That's good because it's in the upper 90s again all week. Hopefully fall will be coming soon. I am really looking forward to fall and the spooky season. I've already kind of started. So every October I do my 13 spooky reads. So I try and read 13 spooky books and kind of use that as my own personal little readathon. And so this year I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'll try and put out a separate video that's just on that in case anyone would like to join me. But I'm doing a spinner wheel and I'm going to put 31 spooky books that I have either on my Kindle or through my library that I can listen to on audiobooks. One of the two, I'll put a mix of them in that spinner wheel of 31 books. And then I will spin as I go and pick 13 books from that to read throughout the month of October. And then hopefully I'll be able to at least get some of those on my October TBR as well. We'll see how TBR treats me. It's actually been fairly nice the last few months. Like the last time it was like really mean to me was April. So I'm a little nervous going into October to see what happens there. But I'm planning on not doing any readathons in October or November unless It is the Mini Star Hop with Stephanie's Bookverse or Becca's Bookopoly. I will definitely participate in those. But other than that, I'm going to try and lie low and just get caught up on, try and keep my book count a little bit lower and get caught up on things that I need to catch up on, like some of my sequels, our series, and our fantasy bingo, the 52 book club challenge. Make sure I'm caught up on those and up to date on where I need to be for those readathons. And then also get caught up on 2 months of book reviews. I did get every book review done for August, so I'm very proud of myself for that. But I still need to do June and July. I am also up to date, except for so far for September. I finished 2 books and reviewed both of those. Now I just finished 2 more today, so I need to get those reviewed. So that is what my goal is through the end of the year, is to get caught up and keep up on my reviews and my year-long readathons. Sufferathon. I have so many plans for Sufferathon and things I want to do, but I think at this point already, we're already 5 days in and I haven't done anything with the first challenge at all. I read the pre-Sufferathon book. I did have that done and got that submitted, but this week I've done nothing for Sufferathon. But the Goddess Complex readathon, I am doing fairly well with that one. I was able to submit 2 of my books for that one so far. So I was able to do Shadow of the Batgirl for a couple of different prompts, and then I also had The Fall of the House of Usher that I was able to put in there, which was very nice. And Seasonathon Academy, I haven't read any of those yet, but there's only 5 books for that one. So, and then the group books, so 6 books total, so that shouldn't be too hard. How are you doing with your readathons so far for September? I keep forgetting what month we're in. Hopefully all is going well for you. And if you are part of the Magical Readathon, what calling are you doing? I, of course, have way too many. Master of Elements and Godseer are the top priority. And then we have the Feywild Cartographer, Scribe, and Aldia Excavationist are my secondary classes if I can get those done. I almost forgot. I have an unboxing of the Broken Binding. Of course, we all know what this one is, but it's still exciting. Don't want to drop it. I almost lost it. I'm loving this bookmark so far of what I can see. I'm just dropping everything today. Jade War by Fonda Lee. This is the August subscription box from Tier 2 for The Broken Binding. It says, all that mortals could do was accept the lot they were given, and yet still fight to better their own fate and that of their loved ones. I think I'm going to be wrapping a lot of Christmas presents with this black ribbon this season. So the Greenbone Saga. And this paper works really well for my bullet journal for the Magical Readathon. And if you want to see how I use that, I will leave that plan with me linked up in the cards above for you. Jade War by Fonda Lee. Now again, I don't know, I haven't read this, so I don't know any of the characters. So you may know who that is. I don't, but I will find out as soon as I read these. All that mortals could do. Oh, that's the same. This is the same quote that's on the bookmark. And then, of course, the sprayed edges. Ooh, I love the sword. The other one had the 2 smaller dagger swordy things. I'm not sure what they were called. And then I will show you the rest of this. Then I'll pull the other one out and we can take a look at them together. Okay, nothing on the back side of it. Ooh. I definitely like the naked hardcovers of these editions than I do the dust jackets. Beautiful. So I may need to save the box and keep all my dust jackets in there so they're nice and safe. I join myself to the fellowship of Jade Warriors freely and with my whole being. Yeah, I think the sprayed edges go really well with the naked hardcover as well. Stunning. Oh, ooh. Interesting. Yeah, these little, whatever this weapon is, that's what's up here on the other book. See the back side. Oh, that's cool. I do like the back. It's almost like a crescent moon, or like one of those daggers. Beautiful. I'm actually getting more and more excited to read this one. So here is the first book, Jade City, and the second. So it'll be kind of cool. I'm definitely going to display them this way because I think they're beautiful, and I think this will look really nice on the shelves like this. So for now, I would probably keep the dust jackets on like I did with this one. And this one has that beautiful green cover on there. Yeah, that's the weapon I don't know the name of. So yeah, I'll probably keep the dust jackets on them to display them this way, just to keep them nice and clean and safe. And then if I ever decide to turn them this way, then I will take the dust jackets off, because this is much more beautiful than this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but this is much more my aesthetic. But that also means I need to find another place to put this artwork, because I did have it like this with the books kind of on each side, but there's not enough room for that. So I'm gonna have to find someplace else on my shelves for this, because I don't really have, most of my office is windows. So windows and a wall bed. So there's not a whole lot of place for artwork, but I wonder if I could hang it on the front of the wall bed. I'd have to get a frame for that though first. That's a thought. Okay, but for now, let's move you down a little bit here so you can see. There we go. So I've got the two here, and I think that's gonna look so nice when I get that third one in there. Beautiful. All right, see you tomorrow. Welcome to Friday. The weekend is almost here. So today, it's been a little rough. Another just kind of meh morning, struggled to get going. But doing a little better now. Got some breakfast in, did some reading, finished a book. Actually finished another book last night too. So I did finish a saga, got this one done all in one day, read it for lunch, and then I read it after dinner and TV. We like to watch an episode of Young Sheldon, which we're on the final season for that, and then we like to watch an episode or two of Cobra Kai, which we were also on the last season for that. So after that, then I do a little reading, and I did finish Saga, and this one is super fun. I love the continuation of the story, and I think there's some really cool themes that are going on in this book, or in this volume. So I definitely recommend if you have never read any of the Saga series. So good. So fun. Yeah, and the artwork is really good, the storyline's interesting, and yeah, love that. And then yesterday I started Katana of Trust by A.C. Ward, the first book in the Kami Prophecy series, and I finished that today. So it's a lot shorter than I was thinking it was. It's about 200 pages. And within that 200 pages is a sneak peek first chapter read for the second book in the series, which is Sword of Compassion. And it was good. I enjoyed it. It felt, I didn't look to see what the genre was, but it definitely felt more upper middle grade, lower YA. So I would say maybe 8th through 10th grade is kind of the general audience that this is geared towards. It's got a Hunger Games-esque type of a story to it. So there's the Cami prophecy, and certain people are marked with a Cami mark. And every 10 years, there's this island that's kind of they call it the Cami Island. And every 10 years, that island is visible. And it's only once every 10 years. So the heirs of each of the clans, I believe there's 12 clans, every 10 years will send the heir to the island to try and fulfill the prophecy and fight the other heirs to be the single one that fulfills the prophecy. That doesn't mean all of the other heirs die, and you don't necessarily have to kill the other ones. Maybe you just subdue them some way until that particular cycle is over. Yeah, I think I just wanted more from it. It was super short, and I wanted more detail. I think the characters are good. They're fairly well written for the length of the book. Like, you don't get to go super in depth, but the two main characters you get to know quite a bit about, and the plot is there. You know what's happening, what their goal is from the start to the end of the book. But I wanted a little bit more world building, a little bit more about the different Cami characters that were in here. You didn't get, I feel like we didn't get quite enough of them, but that may come up in future books. And since this is a series, there's more than one book. So we may get a little bit more of that as the books go forward. But I haven't run it through Compile yet, but I would say probably 3.5. Definitely not a 4-star. So yeah, probably about a 3.5 for me. The atmosphere was good. The writing was easy to read, easy to understand. I think almost a little too, like I say, more middle grade style writing. So it was definitely easy to read. And just I was going in thinking this was an adult book, which definitely not. So I think that affected my enjoyment of it just a little bit. Once I kind of realized it was more middle grade writing, then I adjusted my expectations, and then it wasn't an issue. So Katana of Trust by A.C. Ward, decent book, 3.5. Then I forgot to show you, my mom surprised my sister and me with just a random gift in the mail one day. There's no gift note or nothing. I just got this thing in the mail. I'm like, so I texted my mom and my sister. I'm like, did you guys send me something? And so yeah, my mom just wanted to send her chillins a little bit of something, show us some love, and so she got me this fun little gadget. And if you have one of these, you already know what it is, but this is pretty awesome. So you take your e-reader and you clip this on, so this big chunk goes on the back side and this part goes on the page of your e-reader. The one thing I don't necessarily like about it is where you push here to lift the clip. Your thumb would automatically go here, but that's where the button to kind of turn it on is. So I feel like I'm just constantly pushing that button, or I have to hold this kind of weird. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But I mean, if you hold it this way where you have your fingers on the sides, then you kind of miss that button that's right here. The only other thing that's kind of annoying with this, and that's just applies to me because my Kindle is so old and I have a crack in the screen here, and I also have a crack in the screen right up here. It doesn't affect the reading of it, but it affects when I put this on there. So the best place to put this is kind of right in this section, but I don't want the weight of this over the top of that crack because then it would just make it worse. So I have to be very careful with where I place this, and then the cover that I have is somewhat thick, so I have to push this in a little bit further just to make sure it hits my screen right. But anyway, you have that on the screen there. So then you push this button and it turns your page for you, which is pretty cool. I was just using it while I was earlier when I was eating my breakfast. I had my Kindle just kind of leaning, and so instead of having to lean forward to turn the pages, I was just using this, and it made the reading experience much faster because I didn't have to wait for it to turn. And yeah, I know, first world problems, but this came in super handy and I love it. This is great, and if I can find the link for it, I will leave that down below because I highly recommend it. Oh, and there is a little spot here as well as on here, so you can charge both of these devices. All right, anyway, I am also still reading of Closet Inferno, and I'm about 50% of the way through, so halfway done, and so good. Love that series. Absolutely love it. All right, so I have got 6 books down on my TBR. Getting close. And I decided I'm going to try and figure out Sufferathon today. So for the first week reads that we're supposed to do, and I know there's 4 different videos, 3 of those prompts are optional, and then there's one that we're supposed to do for this week. So I'm going to try and figure out exactly, I don't remember which one was which. So I'm going to figure out which one is the one that we need to do, and then probably ignore the other 3 for this week. We'll see if somehow whatever I've already read fits any of those, then I will use them. If not, we'll see. And I know a couple of them I think had unhauls in there, like read it or unhaul it, or just unhaul a book in general. And as I don't really have a lot of physical books, for unread books on my physical shelves, I have this shelf here, up here is unread. I have this book out of all of the ones on this shelf, and then pretty much this shelf from here over I have not read. And then I have my classic shelves, so these are kind of half and half. I've read half and haven't read half. So I'm not going to unhaul any of those because a lot of these I just got. So yeah. The reason I have a physical book is because I love the book and I want to keep it. So those prompts don't work very well for me. And on Kindle, I'm not going to unhaul something until I've read it. And I don't really unhaul my Kindle books. Like, I remove them from this device, but I don't unhaul them from my account unless for some reason I absolutely hate the book and never want to see it again. Yeah, I think there's really only 2 books that I've permanently deleted from my Kindle that I gotten because I just did not like the book at all. It was not for me. So I'm not really an unhauler because I don't get books unless I don't get physical books unless I know I'm gonna like them, except for my subscription box books that are here. And so far, the ones I've read, I've definitely enjoyed. So I'll probably not do any of that. All that very long-winded way of saying I will probably not do any of the unhaul prompts for Sufferathon. So I am going to take you to my top down, and let's go ahead and fill out my reading journal for the last 2 books that I just finished. Right. So I do need to fill this one in. Okay, so let's see, how many books have I finished so far this month? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so 159 to 163. Try and use a different color each month just to differentiate so I can tell what is what. And I'm still keeping up with my tracker. I did get my tip in here finally put in. Oh, and I did finish Fate Calls the Elf Queen. That's the only one there so far. So nothing to update in these. Okay, and I have written these ones in here. I need to get Saga in here. Nope, I got Saga in, so I need Katana of Trust. I need to color in Hex Life. That one I gave 4.5 stars. Then Saga, I haven't put that through Compile yet, but it'll get 4.5 probably. And then Katana of Trust in here. Keeping up with my Bible tracker. Okay, let's come on into September. So Katana of Trust was number 7, so I finished that one today. Closet Inferno, I did make it to halfway. So next up, I want to start A Closed and Common Orbit, Legend of the Phoenix, and the Obsidian Tower. I also need to start the Phoenix and the Turtle soon because that one is for an O prompt, I believe. Let's see, Katana of Trust, here we go. So for books read, when I finish them, I use my gray dot marker, but for when I start books, I use the purple one so I can see when they actually were started as opposed to when they were finished. I will probably start Legend of the Phoenix today at lunch, and then for this evening I will continue with Of Claws and Inferno. The audiobook, I will put 8 here for A Closed and Common Orbit because I do need to start that one soon as well. I'll be continuing with Of Claws and Inferno, and then I will be starting A Closed and Common Orbit and Legend of the Phoenix. Go ahead and put these in here. Closed and Common Orbits at top. I feel like we're getting there. We're getting something done anyway. Slow start, but steady. And then again, this is where I'll put Sufferathon. Yeah, I think there was like, you're supposed to pick your 8 shortest books and you roll a die. If you get an even number, then you have to read that book. If you get an odd number, then you have to unhaul it. And I have not done that roll yet. And then you take one of the other prompts. So as you take your largest book, then you do a reverse page count and then you read that one. Well, my largest book is 986 pages. So reversing of that is 689. So the closest I had was 639, which is The Will of the Many by James Islington, and that's the group book for the archivists for the Magical Readathon Guild, the Archivist Guild, which my character Crossu is part of. And then I have The Phoenix and the Turtle, which is a 60-page book, and that brings it to 699 pages. So fairly close, but I don't think I will get to either of those two this week. We'll see what happens, because The Will of the Many I don't need to read, so I don't necessarily want to do that. But maybe I'll figure out how I could use like A Closed and Common Orbit and what other book I need to read along with it to see if I can get to that page count. So that's 365. Okay, so this one is 365, which means I need to read 324 pages more. Oh, that's funny. This one's also exactly 365. That's funny. So I could read these two, or Of Claws and Inferno is 376. So I could use this and Of Claws and Inferno. That could work as well, because the 224 is too short. But Hex Life was 400. That makes it a little too long. So maybe I will do that instead. I could use A Closed and Common Orbit, 365, and Of Claws and Inferno at 376. Maybe I will do that one. So yeah, the pre-book under 200 pages, I did read Camp Half-Blood Confidential by Rick Riordan, and that one was 100 and something pages, so I did do that one. And then the other thing, let's see, if you had neutral colors on, which I did at the time of watching the video, you have to unhaul a book. So what I did write down for that one, I was a little more prepared than I thought I was, apparently. I did return Knife of Dreams to the library, so I counted that one. And then prompt 1, so the number of books read so far in 2024 divided by 35. So at that time, I'd read 158 books, which comes to 4.5, and then you round it up, so that's 5. So 5 books is my TBR for this week, or unhaul, return, delete them. So I did that. Well, hey, look at that. I'm more ahead of the game on Sufferathon than I thought. Go me. Okay, because I did finish. Let's go this direction. It'll be easier. So I did finish The Fall of the House of Usher. I finished Shadow of the Batgirl, Hex Life, Do Bigger Things, Saga Volume 6, and I just finished Katana of Trust. And 3 of those were library books, and 1 was a NetGalley book. All right, well, I feel a whole lot better. I just need to actually write those all into my little Sufferathon space here. And then I did get through The Fall of the House of Usher for Haunted House and a book I did not buy because I did borrow the audiobook. And then for Animal, I had Shadow of the Batgirl for Bats on the cover. I'm getting there. I got 3 spots marked off already. Nothing for this one yet. Although Saga Volume 6 could work for ghosts because her babysitter is kind of a ghost. I'm trying to remember what they call her, like a ghoul. Let me see if I can find a picture of her in there. Here we go. Her. She is a ghosty. Oh, they call her a horror. So she is more of a ghosty. I could use her as a ghosty in the story. So I will put that in there, but also I will, if I read one that has much more ghosts in it, which probably I will next month, I will replace it for that. And actually, well, not really a serial killer, they're assassins, so I can't use that one because it's a little different. All right, so I'm getting there for that. I need to get these ones in here as well. What are those? Challenge 1 and 2. Because those have to go together, so I have both of those on here. So this is section 1 and section 2. I'll do it this way. And then for the 3rd section of challenges, I'll put Ghost on here. And then Saga Volume 6. There we go. Then we have Aldia, so I'm starting to put the book covers in for the books that I've been reading. So I do have Closed and Comet Orbit is for O in Restoration. The Fall of the House of Usher was for O. My Q was Do Bigger Things, so I still need to read Beyond the Veil by Pippa DaCosta, which is only 268 pages, so it'll be super quick. Haven't done that one yet. So Legend of the Phoenix is for Animal Studies. That's for those. So Saga Volume 6 isn't part of Aurelium for my TBR. But I did complete my O for The Fall of House of Usher. Of Claws and Inferno is my O, so I'm getting close on that one. Quicksilver. So here's Legend of the Phoenix for Animal Studies as well. And not any of the rest of those. And then for Karasu, I think Karasu has Katana of Trust. So I have the Phoenix and the Turtle. That's my O for Animal Studies, so I definitely need to get to that one soon. So Hex Life I did do, and then is Freak Show, which is another one that's on the shorter side. 195 or 194. Here's my cheat sheet. And then for Restoration, I did read Hex Life already. Conjuration, I got Shadow of the Batgirl done. Lore, I do need to get to Awakened Vampire soon, but I have that on audiobook and Kindle, so that one's like 106 pages. It'll be super easy, but I need to get to that one soon. And then, there we go, Katana of Trust, so I just finished that one. For now, I do need to put that I finished it today. That one is a nice, quick, and easy read, and it is entertaining. I just wish there had been a little more detail in there. Okay, so Inscription is complete. Let's see, Inscription. So again, Katana of Trust is that first one. So I can color that one in. And put the date. So next is the Obsidian Tower, which is one that I want to get to because this is a physical read. So I don't have any other form of this one, no ebook or audiobook. So I need to get started on this one soon because it's a chunky one, 514 pages. So yeah, that I need to get started on that one soon. I can do that now because I finished Katana of Trust, so I need to add that actually. Mental Studies, haven't started that one yet. Restoration I did finish. So I did finish one and a bit of a class for this one. Awakened Vampire again. So we're getting there. I do need to add Obsidian Tower on here though, even if I just read one chapter of it today. Moving on. Seasonathon, I have not read any. I did read this one, so I finished Geography 1030. So Obsidian Tower I will start today, and that will probably take me through the rest of the month to actually finish that. We'll see. Especially if I'm reading some other ones on top of it. So we have Spelling the Tea. Let's see. I did finish Fall of the House of Usher. I finished a saga. Actually, that should have been on this side. So this is, I submitted it to the Readathon, and then I reviewed it. So this is saying I actually read the book, so it should be that way, but I will submit this one today. And then Hex Life I did finish, and I submitted it, and I reviewed it. This has been helping me a lot, putting whether I submitted it and reviewed it and read it, different boxes for each of those. That's helping me to stay on top of everything. So Katana of Trust, I read that one, and so I do need to submit that one and do the review. 6. And I love these papers from Journalsay. Stunning. Okay, and I got everything in there, and I've been starting to write down just little snippets about some of the books, so I do still need to do Katana of Trust in here and finish. This one, there's a couple quotes that I had written down that I want to put in here for this section. And then we have Saga and Katana of Trust I need to put in here. And then that's it. So I am all caught up with that. So thank you so much for joining me, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. And all of my links are down below to the different readathons, to my Storygraph, and my Goodreads accounts. And I hope that you have an amazing September and an amazing magical readathon, and I will catch you again later in the month. Bye!